Head coach Chris Collins joins us now. He is today's big interview. Chris, welcome. Last two games really impressive. So you've now won 4 in a row going back to the game against Michigan State. What do you think has really clicked with this team, starting with that win over the Spartans and carrying forward to these last couple?
Yeah, I think, the whole season, our defense has been our identity. We've really, from day one in the summer and preseason, we understood that if we were going to be competitive, we were going to have to play elite defense. And our guys really have bought into that. We had a really tough performance in the ACC Big Ten Challenge playing against Pittsburgh. They came in and just really throttled us on our home floor. And we were able to get to the practice floor and kind of reestablish what we wanted to do as a team. Then certainly going on the road and winning in a tough environment like the Breslin Center, I think gave our guys a lot of confidence. And I think what we're seeing now is the offense is starting to catch up a little bit to where our defense has been. And we've been able to really score the ball well the last two games, 85 and 92 points. And, if we can continue to share the ball and make some open shots and play defense, hopefully that'll make us a really competitive team in the conference.
I want to dive a little bit more into the defense. I mean, some of the numbers are incredible. You guys are literally leading the nation in 2-point field goal percentage defense. I mean, it's crazy. There are more than 360 teams, so to lead the nation in anything is really quite remarkable. You've generally been a good defensive team. I mean, I would say if you kind of look back through the years, probably defense slightly better than offense statistically, but this is a different level. How do you account for it? I mean, you say the guys have bought in, but there's got to be more to it than just saying, okay, we're going to be a good defensive team.
Well, first, I'm going to tape that clip and send it to my college coach because he told me I couldn't guard anybody when I played. So the fact that you're telling me that I've become a good defensive coach, that can maybe ingratiate me with Coach K. But, I think this year, more than ever, the player buy-in on that end of the floor has just been amazing. We talked about it as we got together as a group. I think last year we were very, very efficient offensively. We were more of an offensive team, and in a lot of respects, we weren't where we needed to be defensively, and in turn, I think it cost us in a lot of those close games. So, defense has been the focal point since day one of practice. We knew it's going to be something that we're going to have to hang our hat on, and I credit the players. We made a few adjustments maybe with some of the things we're doing on that end, but really, it's more about the guys believing their connectivity. I've always said as a coach, you can tell when a team is connected by how they are on the defensive end of the floor, because you need 5 guys connected as one. If one guy is not doing his job on that end of the floor, then you're going to get broken down. So I think the one thing the guys they're starting to get confident and a little bit of mojo with the defense. Hearing them talk and things like that. And like I said, the work in progress has been the offensive end of the floor, and these last couple games being able to score it a little bit better and get up and attack in transition has been very, something that I've been really proud of.
It really has been, and Chase Audige, I think, is a guy who has stood out there. He's always been a fabulous defender, although he seems to have even upped that part of his game this year. But offensively, I mean, he was unbelievable against DePaul on Saturday. And it seems to me, and you and I have talked about this through the years, his shot selection has always been the greatest. It's been really good this year. It really feels like something's different in terms of his mentality on that end. What have you seen?
Well, I just think, like you called it, his maturity, his experience, he's not playing. I felt like at times he was really pressing early in his career. And it comes from a great place. It comes from a competitive spirit, of wanting to do well, of wanting to win. And I thought he got himself sped up at times and got himself in bad spots. I think one of the things that's really helped him too is we're getting Boo Buie off the ball a little bit more and allowing Chase to have the ball in his hands and play a little bit as a main playmaker and pick and rolls and initiating our offense. And, I think it's just really settled him down. His decision making has been great. He's coupled that with, to me, I don't think he gets enough credit for how elite he is on the defensive end. I think he's one of the top defenders in the conference. And, we knew coming into this year, I talked about it with you in the summertime, like we have 2 senior guards who've been mainstays in this program. And in order for us to achieve the things we want to achieve, we need those guys to play at an all-conference caliber level. And, fortunately, over the last month or so, they've really turned it on and played great.
Chris, you and I attended the same high school. I was there a little bit before you at Glenbrook North High School of Ferris Bueller's Day Off fame. I want to ask you to reminisce a little bit about your high school days. What was your go-to Little Louie's order?
You know, I was never a big hot dog guy, so I was more of a burger.
Okay.
More of a burger guy. I mean, Louis, great hot dog, but I was just never a big dog guy. I did have a big bone to pick with the ownership over there. They actually named a sandwich after Shire, and I didn't get one myself, so I was boycotting them for a while, but that we are now back in good graces, and definitely that was a go-to spot back in the day.
Can one still order the Shire? I haven't been there in quite a while, I have to say.
I'm sure they can. As you know, as we get older, people forget. Even my own son. Last year when Nick Hardy made it to the PGA Tour, my own son told me I've been removed from the Glenbrook North Mount Rushmore now of athletes. But maybe I have to break out some of those old tapes to let people know that I was all right back then too.
You were indeed Mr. Basketball. I need to ask you, can you still recite the first verse of Down to the River?
I cannot, but
really?
It's yeah.
Can you do the first sentence? The first line?
You're putting me on the spot here, Dave. I wish I had a little bit more. Why don't you give me a little bit of it?
Went down to the river, and then your response
yeah, man.
Started to drown.
Yeah, man.
Got to think about the Spartans.
Yeah, man.
Just couldn't go down.
See, I had it.
Come on.
I just needed.
Oh, you knew the yeah man, Chris. The yeah man was the easy part. Now you mentioned you were Mr. Basketball. You also have an unofficial IHSA record. That is, you attended the most bar mitzvahs of any player in IHSA history. I know Coach K loved that number. What was the exact number of bar mitzvahs?
Yeah, I actually moved to Northbrook, Illinois when I was in 7th grade when my dad got the Bulls job. And my social life, that year in the bar mitzvah run was amazing. I actually went to 96 bar mitzvahs over the course of a year span. The parties were amazing. I learned a lot about the Jewish faith and the services, and a lot of my dear friends to this day. So happy Hanukkah to all. And I do remember my senior year, you guys will like this, my first game of the year, I was so excited. I scored 50 points against Deerfield High School. I called Coach K. I was all excited. I said, Coach, I had my first game of the year this year. I scored 50. And he goes, that's great, but my family and I were just talking about how you went to 96 bar mitzvahs. That's even better. That's amazing. And I said, yeah, it's pretty incredible, Coach. It's pretty awesome. So my Northbrook roots are going to run deep. I loved growing up there, and obviously that's a big part of my upbringing.
You mentioned Coach K. What's the biggest thing that you learned from him as a coach?
I think adaptability, flexibility. I don't think anyone throughout the tenure, understood as the game had changed, how to continue to keep your morals and values, what they are. Your standards don't change, but you have to be open to how the game is being played, how recruiting is being done, how the college game had changed throughout the years. And I admired him over that 40-plus year span, the way that he could keep reinventing himself as a coach and continue to succeed at the highest of levels. The other thing that really just stood out to me was the fire he had. I mean, there were days, man, and maybe the dog days of seasons in late January, early February, and he's in his 60s, and I'm thinking to myself, man, this is a guy who's won 5 national championships, Olympic gold medals, over 1,000 games, and he has a fire to play this game against Clemson or UVA or Florida State at the end of January like he's never won a game before, and that was always something that really resonated with me, is to continue to keep that competitive spirit and that fire no matter what, good or bad, and obviously a big part of who I am is been with my time with Coach, and I'm forever grateful for that.
He obviously wasn't the first person to coach you. That was your dad, Doug Collins, of course, former first-round pick in the NBA, a great player, a great commentator as well. How did you kind of combine what you learned from your dad with what you learned from Coach K?
Yeah, I mean, growing up, I was the kid who always wanted to tag along. I mean, it was an instant love affair with basketball. You know, that was my time with my dad. He was playing as a professional athlete. I wanted to be in the locker room. I wanted to be at the practices. You know, I wanted to tag along. I loved the game. I had a ball in my hands ever since I can remember. And I was just always the kid that kind of always just looked and listened and learned and observed. You know, and I think back to my childhood. I mean, I'm a little kid, and he's playing with guys like Dr. J and, you know, that Sixer crew back in the 70s. And then in my formative years, having a chance to go to those practices with the Bulls with Michael and Scotty and Horace Grant and John Paxson and that whole crew, and just listening and learning, and then going home at night and watching basketball with my dad. I always say the way I learned basketball the most was watching games at home with my dad. Me on one couch, him on the other, and you got maybe the best analyst of all time explaining basketball to you as you're watching the game. So much of me in basketball is from my dad. His competitive spirit, his work ethic, you know, his passion, you know, are all things that really resonated with me. And man, how lucky am I? I had my dad growing up, and then spent almost 20 years with Coach K. You know, to have two of the best minds of the game to learn from has been really special in my life.
And I know the tradition with basketball in your family's continued. Your son Ryan is one of your managers now at Northwestern, a sophomore undergrad. What has it been like to share this experience with him and to kind of pass down the love of the game?
Yeah, it's awesome, because for me, I was the son growing up, and you know, I was a Bulls ball boy, you know, and I remember going to games with my dad and sitting under the basket and us kind of walking off the floor after big wins, and you know, to have that time with your son, you know, after a big win or just a tough practice, or seeing him every day and being able to share that time. As we all know as fathers, it goes fast, and so for him to want to be here and to be a part of what we're doing, and to get to see him every day and be a part of team, that's been really special.
Well, I know it would be particularly special to return to the NCAA tournament with him. It's been 6 years since you made it. This is certainly a team off to a really good start. What would it take for this team to be the second Northwestern team to make the tourney?
Well, I think the one thing we've done is we've put ourselves in position with a good non-conference. You know, we have one more opportunity here on the 29th against Brown to wrap up the non-conference slate. You know, we got a good road win at Michigan State, and we always say the Big Ten, it's a 20-round fight. That's how I view it to the guys, and I always tell them if you can handle your business and take care of the non-league and put yourself in position, if you can win more rounds than you lose in the 20-round fight, then you're probably going to be in pretty good shape. So, you know, I think for us, we got to stay healthy. We have to keep improving. You know, I think teams are going to keep getting better as they do year in and year out. The level of coaching and the level of programs in this conference are incredible. So we got to keep getting better. Our players have to keep getting better. And obviously, we're going to have to win close games. You guys know, I mean, the Big Ten is going to be a gauntlet for everybody. There's going to be tons of close games night in and night out. And we're going to have to do a good job when we get in those close ones of winning our fair share. And hopefully playing games in late February and early March that really matter. I know I would love nothing more for these guys. It's been a group that's really fun to coach. They work hard. They're a great group, and you know, I would love to help them achieve their ultimate goal of playing in March this year.
All right, Chris, my goal is to have you back on in March talking about an NCAA tournament, and we'll go through the Glenbrook North alma mater together. How does that sound?
I'm gonna work on my down to the river. I feel bad. I feel inept. My bad on that one, but. Proud Glenbrook North Spartan.
All right.
I know we both are.
Go Spartans. Thanks a lot, Chris. Congratulations. Have a great holiday season. Congrats on a great start.
All right, thanks. Happy holidays.